Hello and welcome to Identities Conversation. Today we are talking about public finance management, and this is brought to us by ZIMCODD. I am joined by a gentleman to my right, Mr. Masimba Manyanya. He's from Simukai Residence Trust. Mr. Manyanya, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. I also am joined by a lady who's not new to this show, Madame Tendai Bobo. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ms. Tendai Bobo is an advocacy campaigns officer at ZIMCODD, the ones who are bringing us this program today. We want to talk, this program is an extension of the program that was on ZTV, on Identities on ZTV this Monday, where we spoke about the issues of public finance management, but in the interest of public services. I need you to explain to us, to say what are some of the principles of what are the principles of fiscal management, and can you elaborate on fiscal balances and imbalances?
Yes. The fiscal system is central, is the heart of public resource management.
Mm-hmm.
As we may know, I think many of us now are aware that we have an economy consists of a private sector and a public sector.
Right.
And the public sector derives its resources from taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And taxes help us fund what are called public goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the mechanisms of actually making sure that resources are allocated efficiently or effectively is the fiscal system.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can bring it down to something that is called a public finance management system.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of confusion about what exactly it could be in society. Many people tend to draw back the moment you start raising those issues of
Because they're big names, big words, and
yes.
not so easy.
Now, they're actually not very big words.
Mm-hmm.
Public finance management refers to the ways of managing the finance of those goods and services that have a high degree of externality. In economics, we say externality. We are referring to goods and services which, when you consume, you cannot stop somebody else consuming. Let me elaborate that. Okay, we're coming down, right?
Please come down to us because you've left us.
All right, we have basically two types of goods.
Yeah.
We have a private good. This is a private good. Okay.
Cup.
Yes, you can go and buy it in the supermarket.
And own it.
Right, and own it.
Mm-hmm.
But defense, you cannot go to the supermarket and buy defense.
By defense, you mean?
I mean defense, public defense, like the army.
Security.
Security, right?
Mm-hmm.
Security. You cannot actually buy it and own it privately.
Right.
So there's some goods in life that you can buy on the market.
Mm-hmm.
There's some goods that you cannot buy on the market.
Right.
Now, those goods that you cannot buy on the market, in economics, we say they have a high degree of externality. Because when I consume it, when I consume security, I cannot stop you consuming.
That's the externality. So would you say externality also means something that's public, something that's shared by others?
Exactly. There are so many goods that are externality, that have a high degree of externality. I'll refer to public health, public education, public roads. You can't stop someone consuming the services of public road because.
No, but if someone puts my blockages on my way, like it reminds me of early this year, during that which happened, we wouldn't proceed if there were blockages. So someone can actually stop you from consuming a public.
Yes.
Or if they choose to consume,
or they appropriate it.
Please go ahead. I'm just saying, I'm thinking as a citizen to say, I could be blocked. I'm not supposed to be blocked probably, but no. I can easily be blocked.
See, by law, you are not supposed to be blocked. You know why? Because you pay taxes.
Right.
Now, those taxes fund those goods with a high externality.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a constitutional right to consume goods for which you have paid taxes for.
Right.
All right. If you pay taxes and they're going to the construction of a road, no one should come now and buy you from using that road.
Right.
Because you already paid taxes for the construction of that road. Now I'll also give you another example which is very close. Maybe an example like education.
Mm-hmm.
Public education, there are private goods in public education and there are private goods.
Mm-hmm.
Public education, you know what it is. Private
Right.
education.
Mm-hmm.
Public education is funded through the state.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we raise the issue of externalities, that's where the issue of the state comes in, because it becomes the agency that helps collect taxes and then spends that money on behalf of citizens.
Right.
You see now,
And
if we didn't have goods with high externality, then there may not be justification for a state,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody will just go to the market and buy whatever they want.
Right.
Do you see now?
Yeah.
Now we have to have a state because there are some goods in our lives that have to be bought and sold by the state.
Right.
So that is where the problem comes now.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go, the issue of accountability and transparency is very clear when you go to the market and you buy your potatoes or you buy your bread if it's available. Okay, but the issue of accountability and transparency becomes very difficult when you apply that, when you try to deliver goods that may not be measurable
Right.
to you as an individual, like personal security. Okay, that's where Manyanya, as somebody who's sitting in the state, goes there and takes your money as tax money, and then I go and spend that money on ABCD, which is supposed to guarantee your security.
Right.
Somebody must follow that spending up to make sure that it was done in the correct and proper way.
Right.
That's where the constitution becomes. And then all the systems, the rules and the processes and the laws that are linked together in a system to manage the allocation of public funds, that is what is called a public finance management.
I will come back to you, Mr. Manyanya. I want to come to Tendai and say, how does the issues of public finance management and the issues that we've learned, the new word that we've learned of externality of goods and services affect the individual?
I would say, first of all, maybe let me go back to what Mr. Manyanya highlighted earlier on, to say there is need for transparency and accountability in the management of public finances. The reason we need transparency and accountability is to ensure now, to say, because another principle now for public finance is to say the money should be spent for national development. And if you are talking about national development, it means everything that is going to be used on that money should be to the interest of Zimbabwean citizens. So coming back to your question, to say how do citizens, benefit from public finances? All the services, like all the money, should directly relate to national development. We talk of social services, like what Ms. Manyanya was highlighting: health, education, water and sanitation, and things like that.
And you chose to really emphasize the issue of accountability, transparency and accountability in public finance management vis-a-vis the issue of public services, which will come to Mr. Manyanya to elaborate a little bit more, which is already started touching on. Why is public accountability, what is accountability and transparency, first of all? Because these are big words that we hear about, but what does it mean in practicality? Chinonzi accountability, chinonzi transparency, chimborichi, number one. And number two, how does it help us in achieving public services?
Okay, transparency, I would say we want transactions concerning our money as Zimbabweans or public funds to be done in a manner that is clear to everyone. And if we are talking of accountability, now we are saying we want those responsible for spending that money to clearly tell us, to say $1 was used for this, this was used for this, and we had this change, or we don't have this change, we went into a deficit because the money couldn't was not enough what we wanted to do. That's transparency and accountability. And how should citizens benefit? I think that's what we've been talking about on social services and things like that.
All right, Mr. Manyanya, do you want to elaborate on this issue?
Yes, I'll kick on from where Tendai has left off. I'll approach it from the other way around. We have a constitution, and from the constitution we derive laws. And from the laws, we have laws and procedures. We have procedures and guidelines on how money should be used. So in other words, we have a template that says that if Manyanya is working in the Ministry of Finance, he's given $10 for travel and subsistence. This money should be, he's given money for travel and subsistence to go to Cairo for 5 days. The money should be so much, rated so much. There are standards on how public monies should be used across the board. And now when we are talking of transparency and accountability, we are saying against the background of those standards, of that template, did you do what you are supposed to do? A very good example is what the Controller and Auditor General's report in 2017 highlighted, that look, in government we are spending so much of our money on recurrent
Expenditure.
We are just spending money, eating money, but we are not saving any for capital development. So let's say
Should it be saved or should it be allocated?
Allocated, sorry. Now, what shall we do to grow our country? Let us not spend 70% on consumption. Let us spend the opposite. Let's tilt the scales. And we have 30% being spent on salaries and 70% being spent on...
I think that's a principle that a lot of developing countries that are functioning well, you find that that principle is very well. It then means that you are investing a lot into your country's development, long-term sustainable development, not a constant. So you become, you move from just being a consuming economy to a developmental economy.
But I'll also stop you there, because there's nothing wrong with eating money.
So very busy eating.
No, but look, when you give someone $100, they will take it to the market and they will drive jobs from there, isn't it?
But you are now talking, but I think it's right there. Can I stop you? You have just actually exemplified the 70% we're looking for. That is investment.
Yes.
So you're not consuming. If you're going to take 70, we've got $100 bill here. You take $70 of it, you go and generate, and you go on order matomasi.
Yes.
That is part of creating wealth and development, because from there that business person can grow agenda. And exactly. Compared to yamukutaura todzokera ku example yeku ministry yekuti zvoni mari yacho kungo tikati the same $100 bill yose yoenda kuma T&S travel and subsistence tichingoуya isusu vashandi tichingotravela tingoenda, but none of the money is going to development. Then it becomes a problem.
Yes. Now, but the ratio, I think we need to have a good ratio which is sustainable, so that we don't impoverish homes by giving them wages that are substandard. That are below the poverty data line for civil servants. But we also create a scope for capital investment. I think the point I was kind of trying to drive to is the issue that the Controller and Auditor General's report created a template that says, okay, government, let's spend so much on. And why? We are now saying, coming back to your issue of transparency, you say, you now go to a local authority and ask them, how much money did you spend on salaries? Now, if they spend more than they spend, then it means the issues of accountability and transparency are then emerging. It means they are not sticking to standards. They are not being open, honest. So there are a lot of issues of ethics, values that start emerging from there, of a non-compliant civil service, people who do what they want without respecting rules. Transparency and accountability summarizes all that.
You bring a lot of amazing issues here, which we hope that the viewers are able to consume. And we want them to dive into the issues of developmental expenditure that we've spoken about. Tonight, would you like to take us through what fundamental, any of you guys, I don't want to make this a question and answer. I want it to be a discussion where we are saying, so the issues of developmental expenditure, how does it affect the issues of public finance management and the issues of public service? What is development? Maybe if you can tell us, first of all, what is developmental expenditure and how does it affect the issues of public service? How does it fit into the public finance management?
Okay, like we go back to the constitution because we said public finances should be used for what? For national development. And if we are talking of developmental expenditure, we are saying that those public finances have been expended on projects meant for what? For national development.
In other words, mari yedu yashandiswa. Expend simply meaning imali yetu isetshenziswe for kuvaka nyika yedu, kuvaka isu, because it is nyika yacho. Saka tiri kuti izvoni we are looking into things like social services, what we have highlighted earlier on, and also we look into production. Kuti munyika medu industry yedu yakamira sei, mari inofana kuspendwa kupi ikoko, anditika tine mines, anditika ende hurumende yedu inawo mines ayo, anditika ainotoona ine mashares kunana wange is the major shareholder ku Wange Colliery Company. We are saying mari yedu kana ichispendwa ikoko ichiinvestwa kuti tigowana chini dzimwe mari, anditika developmental expenditure kuti ko infrastructure yedu yakambomira sei, maroads edu, maclinics edu, maschools edu, mari ngaishandiswe zvinhu zvinoita kuti nyika yedu inge ichidini nevanhu vayo, anditika tinge tichiwana pundutso. I asked the question. Do you want to chime in, or maybe I can just ask. I can highlight this question and then you can bring it all together. I remember because this is a build-up from the Identities TV show that came out on Monday at ZTV. I asked a question to say, for instance, how would we say when we are asking for children's education to be paid? So in the spirit of what is consumptive versus what is capital or long term, when we are saying that we are asking for our children's school fees to be paid versus expenditure of construction of classrooms and all that, how do you differ? What are these all developmental expenditure, or how do you differentiate between the two?
Yeah, that's a tough one. And I wish Tendai had taken
it. Let me take it. I was telling you to say I want to know what you're going to say. For me, developmental expenditure, if we are saying there is a free basic education, that's developmental expenditure because we are building children. I saw at one school.
Human capital.
Yes, I saw at one school in Mbare. They said on their like a school logo or something, they said better build children than repair them.
Yeah.
That's a very mouthful, a motto maybe for the school.
It is an empowering.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. This is a touching one because I am a mother. I want to say this to say, if you look right now, the level of dropouts we have, what's the future of that child? Because our children are the future. If you see the drug abuse by our teenage girls and boys, employment, we are destroying the nation. And if we are talking of developmental expenditure, the government now should come and invest to make sure that those children who are failing to go to school, like the BIM program, it was meant, it's a safety net for the orphans and those people who can't afford basic education. But we find that government has to fund that.
And I will help you and actually say that the government now through a program, a campaign that I was part of leading called Every Child in School, since 2017 has been asking the government of Zimbabwe to make state-funded basic education. So I think the government is they have actually responded well, though we are not happy with the speed. The education bill that is promising for free basic state-funded education has gone the first round and second round. We're hoping when the parliament comes back in September, we hope that they frustrate and pass that bill to be an act so that by September when kids come back to school, they can benefit from that. So thank you for answering that. When we are investing in paying for school fees and making education free, that's actually part of long-term developmental expenditure. But then how about also, do we then put the issue of teacher salaries in there?
Let me start from where Tendai left, or both of you guys left. I hold the view that the source of value is labor. That is the source of value. In any context.
You have a habit of confusing us and give us big. Oh, you're an economist. Come on. Come back to us. Down the cheek.
Labor is the source of value in the sense that let me put it in vernacular.
Even English, simplify.
Even in English, yeah, we would
Simplify
like all to
English.
move together on this one.
Yeah.
But I love this example. I've used it in classes before.
Are you a lecturer?
I have taught before. Yeah,
Okay,
teaching.
you've taught. Okay.
I enjoy teaching. So
Okay.
I'm a family profession.
Oh, lovely.
Passionate about it.
Okay.
Right. You get munhu akuenda pamuti osangana nemuti uri pamberi pake. So handiti apapa uri kutsvaga chikafu nemaoko. Let's say it's pre-Stone Age.
Yes.
He's picking food from the ground. Then something goes on in your mind to say, look, if I can bring that tree down and create a leaf, and that's what Ravita said. You've created capital from the tree. Now you have the branch of sense is up. At the end of the day, we just send some mutual kugadzira an X, kugadzira a house, but it all started in your mind by looking, by conceptualizing, by envisaging, by creating a vision, and then by manipulating the environment or changing or transforming the environment so that it moves in a certain direction.
Right.
So now where there was a tree, maybe there's a house. And maybe where there was mud, there's a pot. You see, you're creating value out of a primary substance.
Okay.
Okay. In the primary economy, in an extractive economy, that is the level where we operate. Eventually, this all comes from the earth, and it needed imagination and skill to create it. But it all started with the human being, and labor. There's two types.
This is going on. We don't want to make this
right. Okay, let me stop there now. Now, labor.
And then so tie it up to labor.
I want to tie it up to labor. Labor is the primary resource or the source of value, and it must drive the economy. So if you don't invest in your labor, you're driving down the economy. That's the point I would like to get to. So eventually, I fully support investments that are made through education, through clinics, through health systems.
Training and development.
Yeah, into labor. Because it is through labor, it is only through labor that we get our presidents and we get our cabinets, and that we get our company directors. They come from labor. There are three factors of production: labor, capital, and land. You don't get a president who is from land, but it has to come from labor. So there's the prioritization of places where you put resources. Labor should be one of them, because labor creates wealth. And you're talking about jobs. When you create jobs, then through jobs you create wealth. And the economist will tell you, she's an economist, she was going with.
Are you an economist?
She is.
Well, she's an economist activist.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think
so
I think her activism is more visible than the economy.
I wanted actually to
allow
explain in
language.
Yes.
That is allocated to the issues of public service that is in tandem with people's needs.
I think as citizens, first of all,
and also, how do we also then ensure accountability and transparency? How do citizens also participate in that cycle?
Okay, yeah, I wanted to say, as citizens, first of all, I want us tisu vanhu vacho handitika ende kana tichiti tisu vanhu vacho Mr. Manyanya talked about us citizens handitika paying taxes by default handitika ukangonotenga anything kumashops uku ukatarisa kuza sokanyorwa kuti VAT, that's value added tax, whether you want to pay it or not, we are paying taxes. And by that default in nature of mamiriro ezvinhu ekungoti ndabhadhira tax, pane social contract yatinocreata between isusu vanhu nehurumende handiti maona. Saka nekuda kwesocial contract iyoyo, we are obligated, kana kuti we also have a right. It's our right and it's an obligation as well for us as citizens. Exactly. So that tinodenda macitizens kunze kuti musangogara muchingoti zvichaita zvega, they do vega. Tinofana kutoteerera kuona kuti mari yatadini,
the money that we
yatacontributa kuti homwe yedu yenyika inge ine mari kuti tikwanise kuva a going concern as a nation, kuti zvinhu zvisarama zvakamira iri kumboshandei. Tisangogara, that's number one. Tisati tambotsvaka kuti tinocontributa how, tine basa iwe nemi yekuti tinge tichidini tichiteerera mari idzi kuona kuti dziri sei. Secondly, handitika, there are processes that the constitution has provided for us. We as citizens, we have to participate in budget consultative meetings because of all the policies dzingaitwa nenyika, the budget is a policy that makes sure that the nation commits. Kune zvese zvanochimbotaura kuma-public finance management policy kuma-acts api handitika tinofanira budget nawo rinozoya kuti zvamamuchimbotaura zvese zviya are you actioning it yewa ma-resources toda kuona inoti prioritization yenyu yezvinhu kana mamuchimboti toda kusapota vana vechisikana handitika what are you doing, how far committed are you tichikumezha nebudget handitika saka tobva tataura nyaya dzegender responsive budgeting kuti izvoni according to maneeds evanhu vakasiyana siyana muchimbo community handitika so shall our budget what respond and reflect to those interests to make sure they are what they are addressed or they are met.
Well, as we're winding down, we are about to wind down on the program. The one question that remains for both of you, especially understanding the issues of budget and making sure that public services issues they are also participating.
Yes, dambudziko ratinavo nevanhu vanogara kumisha nderekuti vazhinji vavo vane njere dzedze dzokuti vakararama nevanhu vanofarira kuvatonga kwete kuvatungamirira. So we have a mindset in rural areas yekuti ukaona munhu achinzi DDA anonzi Nkosi, ukaona chief anotambirwa anoridzirwa ngoma achiitirwa sei handitika. We have evolved into a new type of governance and many people are still living in prehistoric times mentally. Havasati vasvika palevel yemuma-cities yokuziva kuti kana muchiona kanzuru is actually their workers ivo vanovaona samabosses avo and dambudziko
aisonya here corruption iri mumakanzuru
zviri kwese zviri kuti makanzuru acho iwayo ane corruption inonyadzisa mukavarenga control and auditor general kugoromonzi kutanzwa dai maindi panguva taipedzera iko zvino but regai ndimbozvimisa zvatikuita goromonzi kune minda ingangotorwa kutaura kuti muchaita izvozvo nekanzuro vakangoita nangoti bhenderekete kupinda mushaya vanhu vakutanga kuita sei kuita mastudies avo without any ethics. Tipei idea ko one mukadzi wakanonzi anine vangani panapa stand yenyu yakafura pari murugara pamawetlands ekutati mupurisa akamira vakabata tikati ko munozviitirei ranzima hatibvunzwi nokuti tisivaridzi veleta but mukanyatsotariso iwo mitemo yedu haina kugadzira haina kushandurwa nekuinda kwakaita Ian Smith yekubata land yekumusha
mutotudza kuti tiri kurarama mucolonial.
Communal Lands Act large portions dzayo i-tribal trusts.
And I'm sure ZIMCODD, this is something that you guys can make up on advocacy.
So kumusha uko tiri kuda kuti information iuye yekueducata vanhu kuti vasunungure musenza nesimuka yerural residence trust tikwanise kuyamura vanhu kuti vabude mukufunga kuti varanda munyika mavo.
Asi mimi muchishanda nevanhu muchida kuvapa masimba iwayo zviri kufamba sei munoona here kuti vanhu vakazvisunungura because ndinoziva kuti dzimwe nguva tine ma-NGO munenge tisina ma-resources ekuvakwese kwese
tine dambudziko rema-resources but chinhu chikuru chandinoona ndechekuti vanhu vanotya nokuti vanhu
saka tichiri kutyisidzirwa here kuti tisabe because handisi kuda kuopen another can of worms but we are in a dispensation that people should not be afraid.
Oh yes. Yeah, ndozvatinofunga kusimuka iyi asi kune vanhu vari kutyisa vanotya kumisha sabhuku chaiyo unoona tinowanisa makumbo kudai akasangana nakansela pane vanhu vekuti kumudedzera kumusangano wesimukai anouya anogara kuseri kwemuti akadai achipa kuti pakanguya masoja panapa chatisa pane interface yenyaya dzedominance yepolitics kumaruzeva ndo chimwe chinhu chakatikanganisa ichocho nokuti vanhu vazhinji we associate rural areas with the dominance of a certain political party. And opposition politics in rural areas are a very serious life-threatening issue. So we need to deal with that and make sure that vanhu vanonzwisisa kuti chinhu chinonzi politics inenge church unoenda kusalvation ini ndinoenda kuroma so what
unofanira kungosangana
isu pasadza pana anotya sadza reroma pana anotya sadza resalvation.
Well, I think this is an issue that we need to talk about on its own, the issues of participation of citizens, free participation of citizens in processes, then exploring to maybe we'll touch it when we touch other issues. But madam, as we end, I am under threat to finish in the next 30 seconds.
Maybe just to say, coming back to the issue of threats, that's a very a critical issue. Not only in rural areas, but if you go even in our towns, those people, not to say those people who belong to such a political party, anyone who tries to, who seems to know and their rights and to say, I'm going to demand my rights, it's like a crime.
Yes,
because they fear political victimization. But you're not being political, just knowing your rights and trying to demand them from those who have to offer those rights, the right holders, it's like a crime. So, you know, and most people who know their citizens, most citizens,
well, I think the question becomes to say, I'll give you each 20 seconds to say, okay, because we don't want to end this conversation in fear. There's certainly something good that's coming out of here, and probably what does the law say? What does the law allow us to do? I'm sure there are also people who are empowered to claim their rights. Do we have platforms where I actually remember recently that there is the Anti-Corruption Commission that has recently been opened. I think those are some of the platforms, I don't know, 20 seconds each.
Right. I want to say this. I was in Chief yesterday. It's everywhere. Saka musachka. And now about a constitution. Anditika. Uchitaura constitution inondipa right yekudai anditika. Saka I am a citizen and fane kudini. Number one is vamtemo. Zviri mu constitution that the supreme law yenyika yedu. Secondly, tikauza papa nemapurisa angaripo. Zvikanzi kumapurisa kune imwe department intelligence inoita cover yekuti you can go ikoko kuotaura kuti andiri kuthreatenwa pakati. Vanhu vakati mapurisa acho iwayo ndo vanotopinda musyndicate yekuthreatena vagari. Saka tikazopedzisira tikati kune mamwe kana mapurisa atadza kuva option, vana Zimbabwe lawyers for human rights variko ivavavo vanokwanisa kudini kubatsira nemamwe
vana Zimbabwe commission as well. Toda kuti vanhu vaitry because ndo iri, because ma-NGO sometimes tiriko kumwe kunzvimbo dzakotiko. So I think also let's try izvozvi. I know that the president recently appointed Matanda Moyo. Let's try those structures as well for government. Thank you very much.
In 20 seconds, right? Munhu wese muZimbabwe wese ane mushawo kuruzeva nemushawo. So we are not doing quite a few, just a few. Vazhinji tikuregerera hama dzedu dziri kumaruzeva. We have engineers who choose to live in Borodale, and when they go to the rural areas, varungoenda kunoona ana baba. He is a water engineer, but amai vakange vachichera mvura murukova. Zvinhu zvizvo zviri kuitika, road yekuenda kumba kwavo chaicha haifambike. But we have a moral responsibility to take up issues, the development of macro training.
Politics.
Campaign. Ngatitorema issues why personally and professionally. I'm an economist. I mean, to promote areas right now, water systems development and large detail work on. And I think I have to do it. What can I say for the neighborhood? Just sends the road. So, pani issue yo. Yechi tunda kwa watu mazimai majinji ndo suffer brand is suffering
all the time.
If we catch the women into my advocacy processes, we build strength. Because madzimai ndo anotambudzwa pakanzi nafa inonzwa chinzi dzokera kumusha kwako yezva zoita sezvo. Saka madzimai ngaatorwa apinde muadvocacy processes.
Wow, I think this is quite a poignant and great point to leave with, that take responsibility, whether you're in your community, here in the cities, wherever city you're watching us from globally, take the responsibility to be the judge. Just don't go to the rural communities and just show off your cars. And I mean, there's so much we could do, use our influence. I mean, it's also tough for the citizens to do what they could, to do such big projects. But if you have capacity to assist the school, do something. So from us, it was great having you on Identities Conversations. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.